a brown plastic paper bag, a bit of it, and a roll of toilet paper. And we decorated all our tables. Anyway, so but it didn't cost that much, you know, to go out and get.
Just to go back to the charging, we do baseball every year in our club, and we charge per kid to do baseball. So it's not, and we do what you're saying, that members are one price and non-members are another price. So I think charging for it is not an unreasonable thing.
Yeah.
Parents might be able to do it. That's why parents spend so much money to take their kids to McDonald's. They might as well, and this is
Kumon.
important.
Kumon.
Yeah, and this is, they're getting something out of it.
And sometimes you also get, if it doesn't cost anything, it's not worth anything. You know,
Well, some people will feel that way. That's true.
Also, I think you get more of a commitment, right? If they're actually going to pay,
Yeah.
they're going to show up. That's
You'll have to figure out what works in your community because it is different. My experience has been in the Middle East and in the Persian Gulf for these, and that's different from others, so you'll have to figure out what works in your club. But all you really need is one person to get it started, because then you can get other people together. And you get volunteers who carry it on a regular basis and have a lot of fun in the process. We've had so much fun. Kids learn, parents learn, the committee learns, everybody learns. It's amazing what we don't know about our own country. Americana, I mentioned, started actually in Dubai when we lived there, 1991. And it went on to at least 94, and I don't know what happened after I left. You know, this was really, internet was really young, and I didn't keep in touch with people. I moved to Bahrain and got one started there. And I know they went on for a year after I left, and maybe longer, and then we just got one started in Doha when we moved there in 2008. Programs are very successful. They weren't, I have that underlined, okay, in the past. They were not always sustainable because initially some of the programs required a lot of work. We had so much fun. We got together and wrote skits. I mean, have you ever written skits before? You have. I hadn't. I mean, it was new to most of us. We had so much fun getting the information, writing the skits, and we had one for years ago, Life in George Washington's time, and then we did one for the sesquicentennial of the Oregon Trail. And we had a lot of fun with that one too. And had little bonnets made, caps made for the girls to wear, and did square dancing, and we had a lot of fun. And because there's so many different resources in your community that, you know, people will say, oh, well, I love to square dance. I could just teach them a little thing. Great activity, but it's also a very American thing. So it's much easier to sustain these programs now, especially because we can share our programs. Here are a few pictures. You see the kids sitting on the floor. This one's from Dubai. In fact, these pictures are all from Dubai. And they have their flag ceremony outside. We usually did ours in. But when I first saw the picture in the upper right, I said, oh, that was at my house. Oh, wait, no. I don't know any of those kids. And they're in a different house than we lived in anyway. But they look very typical. You can be just on the floor. The adults tend to sit in the chairs. Future, Monica and I would like to see it expand to other countries, mainly because your club will reap a lot of benefits from this if you get one started. But it's more the sense of community that it creates and the learning and the fun that you have together. And we'd like to see it go on. A friend in Doha is working, as I mentioned yesterday, the session, on Americana for teens. And we want to talk about elections because the teens are about ready to vote. I mean, when they turn 18, they can vote. So they need to understand responsibility and things about voting. Third culture kids, re-entry into the U.S. We tend to forget, but it is a big deal, and it's often harder than moving overseas. In fact, I'm going to be talking to some Peace Corps volunteers next week about this. The reverse culture shock can be hard, and you just need to be prepared for it. Who benefits? These are some of the people, all the children involved. children, because you can get them in to do skits or to help you out, and they can be there as well. Parents love it, believe me. They love it because they learn too. Even if they are American citizens and always lived in the US, they learn things that they never knew. And yet we gear it really so that the youngest ones will get something out of it, and they do. And they go home and they teach their siblings the songs. It's fun. All the committee members learn. Local community, and AWA would benefit as well, or whatever your organization is called. Okay, this is supposed to be a workshop, so, and I've been doing all the talking. Let's plan a program. Yes?
We actually did one in '08. We ran the program for 3 years, and our class sort of graduated. They all hit puberty and lost interest. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And where were you?
Copenhagen.
In Copenhagen, okay.
And we had about 10 kids, so they formed 2 political parties. And they had to each develop a platform. There was a lot of stuff about recess and gum and school and all that.
Exactly.
And then they developed, they had buttons and posters, and they campaigned. And then we had a mock U.S. presidential election. And there was a lot.
You had a mock presidential election?
Yeah, well, the thing was, having evenly divided them up into their own parties, there was not a very useful election that we could hold because the entire electorate was 50-50 separate parties, each committed to their own programs. They had a lot of time, I had a lot of fun making speeches and stuff. But then they had heard a lot at home about the presidential election, so we had a mock election with Obama and McCain.
Using the actual candidates.
And the actual candidates, and we got kids to actually willing to make speeches for both. And we had an election and solemnly counted the votes and announced the winner, and then we had recess.
And how old were these?
Between 8 and 11.
8 and 11. Okay.
Ours was actually, we met monthly. It was an hour and a half, so parents can shop or go have coffee or something. We don't have a security situation.
Oh, you're lucky.
So nobody was worried about anything. So we would have a break in the middle because they'd get very jumping beanie after a while. And the parents rotated the responsibility for the daily snack.
Oh, okay. So, we did not do food at ours.
Well, for an hour you wouldn't need to.
Right. And we timed it in the afternoon so they wouldn't be ready for a snack anyway. It would be sort of right after lunch. In part because we had brand new furniture in the house. Well, not but I just said, it's government furniture.
Well, we were in school, so there was the playground handy, and there were all these facilities.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, everybody's situation is going to be different, and then you could do it.
So it worked out very nice.
Yeah.
We also had a regular craft at every lesson.
We tried to, either a craft or an activity. But I mean, another activity. And sometimes we got really concerned the first year because we were really paying a lot out of pocket. And in fact, if somebody brought it up, I just said, "Here, give me your receipts," and I gave them money.
Yeah.
Out of pocket. But that's when I think somebody said, we should find a sponsor.
Did you charge?
Because
No, we didn't charge. We did ask, the club did a budget line for it, and we basically did require the parents to be members.
You did?
Yeah. And we had a small teaching group. And our primary expense was photocopying. People tended to have craft materials at home. And it was really, really simple stuff.
Well, what we always tried to do was have something that really reinforced something they had learned.
Yeah.
Except for, holiday, Christmas time, we had them make ornaments, and that was different. And that wasn't related to what they were learning, because we didn't have an educational program for Christmas. It was just fun and singing Christmas songs, holiday, winter songs, and we tried to cover. The first year we had a Muslim holiday, Jewish holiday, Christian holiday, and Kwanzaa, and they were all within about 2 weeks of each other. So we talked about all the holidays. Now, the Muslim holiday, which would be the local holiday, is much earlier because it moves up 10 days a year. So it's no longer in December, so we didn't discuss it at our last program. Yeah. But yeah, it's always nice. They like to either do something. What we did was games too, and when we had no money, I was at a loss of as to what to do, and we had presidents. And so I sent a quick email to a sister-in-law in the States who's a librarian, elementary school librarian teacher. And I said, can you give me some suggestions of what we might do? A great game, and we modified it for other things, is we were talking about Presidents Washington and Lincoln. And we had a little boy who was dressed up as Lincoln and one who was dressed up as George Washington. So after the main part of the program, we went outside, and the weather was really nice there, and we had George Washington on one side and Abraham Lincoln on the other side, and somebody calling out questions. You know, I was born in a log cabin. No, that wouldn't work. What was that? I was the first president of the U.S. Everybody had to run to George Washington, and my head is on a penny, and everybody would run to Lincoln. But I had several trick questions in there, and you could see the kids, and you know, because they had really paid attention, and they knew that there were 2 correct answers, and they were wondering which way to go. So it was fun. They had a lot of fun. It gave them some activity, and then they were ready to go back and do something else afterwards too. So that was our activity. It wasn't a craft. But crafts are fine too.
I think one of the best points you've made, and something that we had to learn by painful experience, is that their attention span is extremely short.
Right.
So we try not to do anything for more than about 10 or 15 minutes.
Exactly. In fact, 15 minutes is a long time.
It's a long time for a child. Yeah.
It's sort of 2 or 3. You know, one of the best programs we had was the Underground Railroad. And part of the success of that program was that one of the people involved, and we talked about quilts, you know, that they used quilts in the Underground Railroad as signals to what people were supposed to do. The woman who was going to talk about quilts was sitting on the floor, sort of halfway back, with her son asleep on her lap. So she did her portion from right there where she was sitting. And again, you know, it's the attention span, but getting the kids to move their attention around the room. Physically, they didn't have to move except maybe turn. That worked. So there are all kinds of little things you can do. Even with a program, if it goes on for 10 minutes, we often will have people placed informally, you know, around a room. And one person, Monica, would say something, and another person would say something. So the kids, you know, that helps. They're not staring straight ahead at something where you would lose them, but they're having to move their eyes and their heads around. Yes?
This is great, and what I really like about this, because you're telling us all these, we've developed this, and these great, do you have all this so we can just take it from you? I think ideally you'd like to get to the point where you have a group and they can invent it themselves, but when you're starting out, you're not going to have that, you may or may not have it. What I would like to take is some maybe canned ones with all of your hints. And you can start that out very easily, and then if you get the right people, they can start going off and doing it on themselves. Because this is where I'm stuck. You know, I would like to do it in our club, but
I've got them for you. I don't. You know what? I wanted
online.
It was supposed to be online.
It's not online yet.
But it isn't online yet. What I'm going to do when I get home, and I won't get home till the 4th of April. When I get home, I'm going to put it on a website, because I've got several websites for various organizations, but I can just put it there, and I will send Monica the link so that she can make, or I can't even figure out how to put a link on the website, because I was trying yesterday, and I finally just, but it was a matter of having to upload, so far as I can figure out, one file after another, and I have so many files. But I can put them all on a thumb drive, and if you have your U.S. tax thumb drive, it has a lot of free space on it. I can give you all the files I have. Okay? And
I know you have some other things to go through, but maybe you could like just show them one of your files that you already have.
Oh,
do you have it?
Okay. Well, I've got some more because I was going to go through this, but yes. How long do we have, Monica?
Till 3:15.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Okay.
I have one more
Not
question.
much
Yes.
time.
What's your experience with how many volunteers do you need for one session? Does it make sense to have more or to have less, or what's the best?
You know, it's nice to have several because I find that somebody's traveling or somebody's got a sick child, and so you're always having, sometimes you're making a lot of adjustments at the last minute. And other times people aren't always there, so you never know. I would have at least 4, preferably more, because you've got to have somebody who's going to handle email and registration, you know, so that you know who's coming. Somebody needs to print a program.
No, I mean involved in the
actual-
program, yeah. What makes sense?
We used to
When
have,
does it get
we used to
better?
have at least 3, even
Yeah.
with a small group.
I would say 3 or 4.
Because kids
Yeah.
of different ages learn at different speeds. We'd have if we had like worksheets or something to do, some of them would have more or less trouble. And it just helps to have several adults focusing their attention on the group.
And we would get parents involved,
Okay.
you know, and ask them to take over and give them quick instructions, have things. We would have activities geared for each age group, and we would have those who were not readers yet in one group, and we'd have the 6- and 7-year-olds in another, and then the others, or it depended on how many kids we had. Sometimes we had about 5 groups. So it can really vary. Okay, songs. You can think of some, you know, one of my greatest sources of songs is We Sing, if you're familiar with We Sing America, but you can use any of the songs, and I'd given them all away. All I had left was We Sing America. You know, my daughter is an adult now. Okay, let's just go through a quick program, but as I say, I have all the files, so I can give them to you. We had an election program as an example, and you did something very similar. What is your name?
Mary Stewart.
Mary.
Stewart, all at once.
Oh, Mary Stewart,
Yeah.
all in one, okay.
Yeah.
Like Sister Mary Stewart. Okay. Mary Stewart. You did essentially what we did. I thought I would give you an example of what we had done. This was our very first program in Doha, and it was just before the election when Obama was elected. So it was 4 years ago. We asked the children to bring their passports, you know, and we checked them in. That was their voter registration. And, you know, they got to see their passports because they knew, I mean, the parents were there. We had the flag ceremony, pledge, national anthem, and they're highlighted there because I always put these, I have links to the files with all this information too. Welcome and explanation, and I could get it very easily from the embassy, but I would think, you know, especially if you know anybody at your local consulate or embassy, if there is one nearby, they have these things for the 4th of July. They're not using them in October. So you can probably borrow them. I would give it a try, because we just put them up everywhere. I mean, overdid it. But the kids loved it, you know, all this red, white, and blue bunting. Talked about that with the day's program, you know, sort of gave them an introduction what we were going to talk about. We discussed elections campaigning, individual voting. Again, simple because you have young kids. And then we introduced our party candidates, and they had, as you did, I mean, it was gum wasn't an issue. One of them wanted to bring parties to Doha, and they wanted to have hot dogs at lunch, and you know, things like that. But the kids, the great thing about that is we either asked the kids or asked their parents if the kids were interested. We had a candidate and a campaign manager, and we had 3 political parties, so we wouldn't have this 50-50. And asked them to come up with platforms, and an adult made sure that they were all, excuse me, a little different. And so we had the red party, white party, and the blue party. And the platforms were all a little different, but the whole idea was similar. And then after the speeches, we recapped the responsibility, talked about voting, and we, again, reviewed very quickly the party platforms so that they would remember which candidate. And the candidates had made posters, too. And then, after that, we divided them up, and we had, I think, the oldest kids vote first. And so we had the other children go to specific areas where they had activities. And I think I've got activities included in one of the files. We had gotten some big boxes, you know, like refrigerator boxes, moving boxes, whatever. We also, because we had empty bookcases, we just moved into the house. And we put the bookcases up and put a sheet over them so they all had their voting booths and they could go in and mark red, white, or blue. And we had the color there, so it was color coded for the young kids. And they could all vote, and they put their votes in a box that we had. We had voter registration, so they understood the process. And then if they ever go to a polling place with their parents in the States, they'll have a sense of what it's like.
I'm sorry, and you did all of that in 1 hour?
Mm-hmm. We planned it though, because we had a lot of kids. It was the very first program, but to divide them up, but we had several committee members, and so we had one, you know, and we divided say the 3 to 6-year-old or 3 to 5-year-olds go with so-and-so, and the others go with, and we just went to different places in the living room, dining room. And then we had to tally it. You want to be really ready for the tally, because that can be slow and the kids can get antsy. So figure out a way to do it, usually with several people involved to call them out. And the winner is, recap the process. And then I usually mention inauguration. I've never done an inauguration program. It would be kind of fun. But we just told them that a president would be elected, and that he's not actually sworn in, doesn't actually become president till the 20th of January. And you can, at noon, so you can talk about that. Party platforms, here's one of our candidates. Here, the red party, this was the blue party, giving a speech. We happen to have this little raised area in our living room, but it isn't necessary at all, because the kids are on the floor. Kids all got together, as I mentioned, with a parent to plan their party thing, and they all kind of worked together. They knew what everybody else was doing. But it was great. It was a good experience in public speaking for them, which little kids are often really afraid of doing.
Was it the 5th graders that you really had doing this part? Or?
Yeah. Red Party was going to bring more plants to Doha, fizzy drinks, lemonade, Disney World, Taco Bell, iced tea all week. The White Party, solar power, nachos with cheese sauce, school, water parks, Chick-fil-A, and have meat every day. You get the idea. It doesn't matter what it is. And then they vote, just so they understand the process. Somebody said, after doing one, somebody said, okay, now where's that? They said, you're not going to get it. That was just a campaign promise.
Well, that's a real one.
To be pretty realistic, can it? Yeah. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, it gets the kids working together when they do this. And practice and planning winning strategies. Okay. Here are some pictures from you can see the bunching, and we had our bookcases back here and a cardboard box here and a shorter bookcase here. I think we had 4 or 5 voting booths there. So it went, the advantage of that is that it goes very quick. If you have just one, it will take a long time. If you have a lot and you have several adults involved, you don't see them here, but we had 2 or 3 checking people off when they went in, and then when they finished, they got a sticker saying that they had, or a pin, that they had voted. I think I have a photo of it later. First program, keep it small if you want, or you can do it large. And it depends on where you want to start. If you want to do it this spring, well, again, it depends on what you want to do. You can start off with a bang and make a nice large program, or you can make it small and see what you want to do. It will pay immediate benefits, I can guarantee you. There are a lot of things you can start with. We've done one on the Pledge of Allegiance and trying to explain to the young kids what the words mean. And it's not, I led the pigeons to the flag, but I pledge allegiance to the flag. Anyway, and then what we did is we took the Pledge of Allegiance, and for the older kids, we cut up every word, cut out every word, and they had to put it together. The youngest ones had something, we had printed it on paper, and we would do it in large phrases. And which one comes first? Pledge allegiance, you know, whatever. But you can adjust it to the level of the kids. And you can start with whatever is maybe of greatest interest to you. You know, have fun. These are some pictures from our store. We got donations from various companies. You know, the parents worked for, had a lot of things from ExxonMobil. Boy, they gave some neat things. You know, wireless mouse and clocks and all kinds of things. But we have a lot of things. Some things I think we bought, but we didn't spend very much money. Most things were donated. And here's high school students who are a couple of our cashiers. Notice the cash register? It's a muffin tin. Even bowls work. And what we would do is ask each child to bring $1's worth of change, if they had it. And at our store, they never, it's all in my notes, they never run out of money. If they're out, I just give them some money and then ask them to count. But it's so that they learn how to count American money. And we usually end up making a bit of money on that. Anyway. You want to make it educational, inspiring, but most of all, you want to make it fun. And if the kids have fun, they will remember what they have learned too. Everyone learns. And what we do is, and we're trying to be very careful with this, they learn about their own country while respecting the cultures and traditions of the country they're in. You know, they're different. But we try to make them realize that one isn't better than the other, they're just different. All of the files will be going on the Falco website, they're not there yet. If you send your programs to us and would like to share them, which we would love, don't send us, please, copyrighted materials. Now, we've taken some graphics off the web. I hope we're okay. But if material's copyrighted, like videos on YouTube, just give us the link, or put the link in, because other people can then download it. All of Doha, Dubai, and actually, this was our email, americanaforchildren@gmail.com. And then I just happened to be in Dubai, and I started getting all this email saying, we want to come to the program. And I said, we finished our programs. But it was for Dubai. And
yeah, so now they're Americana for Children.
So
Dubai.
Now it's on the next one. It's Americana for Children.
And maybe
Dubai.
Ellie doesn't realize, but she does have, Ellie does have americana@falco.org.
Oh, I didn't put it up here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So, you know, if you just want to
website.
make it easier and not bombard her with, yes, I can come to the program.
Yeah. But I would suggest that for your own club, that somebody do an email like this, Doha, Dubai, and we've just been doing them at Gmail. And if you want to contact me,
Yeah.
feel free.
No, just
And that email works. I get it, download it every day. So I will leave those up. Now, if you any questions, comments? Yes.
I think this would be relevant to those of us who are in Europe, and I think it's a different thing to Americans who are living in an American community, like a compound. A lot of our students had at least one